I'm just going to start my talk with how many of us talk about the things that we really want to do, but given the opportunity when it arises, we don't actually go through with it. And it could be just down to a mental, a physical struggle that you may have. It could be just a lack of confidence. It could be a disappointment from a past failure. And it could also just be the way you view the world. That's what it was for me. And personally, I have ticked every single one of those boxes. I've been through all of it. I just want to thank today ERCI for inviting me here today, just to really share my story. And my story today is about reinvention. Reinvention of myself on a personal growth, reinvention of my career, of my businesses, of my relationships around me. And it's also about finding opportunity. Not waiting for opportunity to come to you, but finding it and grabbing it. And also the most important thing out of all of this for me has been about letting go of ego. To give you a little bit of background about me. So I'm a child, or was a child of a mixed race. I'm British Chinese. My mom's from Singapore. My dad is English Polish, hence my surname Jedrek. I'm married with two young kids, 3 years old, and I forgot how old she is, 20 months. And I've lived in Singapore now since 1994. So I stopped counting. What is that, 26, 27 years? Something around there. And I'm most well known for being Singapore's only female race driver. Now I've also worked in the media for like 13 years as an MC, a presenter, a writer, and in motorsport almost a decade, which is crazy for me because I would have never thought I'd be in motorsport. So I'm a mum, and I'm also a business owner of the Film Dispensary, and it's a media and marketing company that I had, and we now primarily work with a robotics company called ERCI, and we actually just launched a new robot last week. It's in the media, and we also owned an electric go-kart circuit, so I've done like a heap of things in between the last 10 years. And the electric go-kart kit, we actually sold it last year. And I think it's just one of those things where I just got busy and I forgot to tell everyone about it. So I've done a multitude of things. Of course, the MC presenter part is my own career, and the businesses I actually co-own with my husband. Let me just see. Now, a decade ago, as a struggling and broke MC, I just made a bunch of bad decisions about joining companies. If you told me that I would one day work in motorsport, a person who has no idea about a nut and a bolt of a car, and I would be commentating at a Formula One race, writing for a car magazine, owning a go-kart circuit. I'm married to a race car driver. His name is Yui Tan. He's been racing for Singapore for a long time. Owning businesses and then flipping them because of COVID. I just absolutely would not have believed you, and I think no one around me, including my family, would have believed me either. I also suddenly had no idea about the physics and science of racing, so for me that was a massive challenge. So I guess how the hell did I end up here? You know, be it in my career, relationships, businesses that I've done, I've had so many failures. We call them failures, and it's not a bad thing. But they have led me exponentially, all those failures, to what I would call my own success. I never pin my success to anybody else's because we all have our own journey and story, and we don't know where we're going a lot of the time. You've got to go slower to go faster. Now this is a really hard concept for people to understand. On a racetrack, when you enter a turn, the general rule is you enter a turn slower so that you can exit faster. Now in life, if you're going too fast in a corner, you're going to go straight, like you see sometimes if you're driving or in a taxi, you see people crash straight into a barrier. That's because you can't make the turn, because you entered way too fast. You can't control the factors around you. Now this is probably a huge thing for me. In a race, there's so many external factors. Now the weather, the track conditions, your competitors, your hardware, meaning the car, your team, the haters, you know, you can't control any of these factors. But what can you control in racing? Does anyone want to have a go? What can you control in racing? What can you control if you can't control everything else?
Speed.
Not the speed, but close. The person who's controlling the speed.
Driver.
The driver, myself. I can control myself. And what I mean by that is that I can control my own abilities, my skill set, the amount of time and dedication I put into it, and why do I have to worry about the rest? Now, the most important thing of racing is you get out the car and you tell them straight away how the car felt, what I was doing, what did maybe something happen during the race or the car, because they need to know the data. It's super important. This team communication, after a while, that it took me a year to learn. It doesn't happen overnight. Helped me in my relationship with my husband. For our first year, it was a make or break. When we did business together, we weren't even married. And we would argue about the stupidest stuff ever. People in racing go through the highs and very low lows, because the truth hurts, because the data never lies. The truth hurts. Every single movement you make in the car, the data is downloaded. We've got so many sensors in the cars. You can't lie to yourself, you can't lie to your team, because they've got cameras. They know if you accidentally touched a pedal, if you turned a little bit left, like 1 degree. It was the most humbling experience, because I would make up stories in the car. They'd be like, you let go of the wheel. I'm like, no, I didn't. They're like, yes, you did. You had jazz hands. You can't do that going around a corner. It's not like daily driving. And I would try and, I suppose, lie my way through it, but like, we know what you did. We knew your reactions. It took me 1 entire year to improve my times. It's a lot of time going to search for 0.3 of a second, an entire year, for just this time, this concept of time, 0.3, which sounds ridiculous. It's basically barely a blink in real life. You know what I mean? That's like 0.3. Then one day it all just clicked. I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And I chopped an entire second off my time when one day I got it, which is massive out on the circuit. Like I said, it sounds crazy for everyone, but it was such an ego purifying process going through it, that it's so hard to, like with that concept of, I suppose, enlightenment, of letting go of that ego. That whole year doing that, it made me realize and made me let go of negative thoughts, defensiveness when people talk to me, why did you do that on circuit? Jealousy, why they're doing better, because it's one thing you're gonna have to come up with. Why do they have that opportunity? Why are they doing better? I was jealous. I was jealous of other guys out on circuit. I was jealous why they had more money. I also had to let go and learn about excuses about myself. I always found an excuse why I didn't do this. I couldn't just accept that it just was, that I sucked for the first year. Now this is sometimes a hard concept for people to understand. Cruise and collect. A lot of the times people think in a race that you've got to be first. First in the office, first at home, first with friends, just first. But actually a lot of the times it's cruise and collect. It's fine to be third and fourth. Because sometimes at the end of the year especially, lots of 3s and 4s actually can get you to that first position by overall points. So in daily life, this is actually a good thing. You know, you don't want to crash and burn by trying pushing. I don't know if you want to do overnighters, or I don't know, trying to outsmart your colleagues and stuff. That you're going to crash and burn. Things are going to happen in work. You know, take your time. When I say winning, I just mean that failure isn't an option for me. I don't mean that I have to win in life. People have said to me, your competitive is really annoying. You and your husband walking down the street, who can get there fastest, it's annoying. I mean, you got to give and take, right? Cut out the noise that way. If I spend all my time thinking about the situations, about why didn't I get this, or what should I have done in that race, or, you know, if you think all of that, that's 20% of negative. I'm just putting a number out there. 20% of negativity in your brain space used instead of 100% thinking about, well, you know what? Kind of messed up there. How am I gonna get to the next, let's just say, job interview? Who am I gonna go attack? What can I do better? How do I get over all of these barriers? It's more important to think about how you move forward. Don't worry about all that crap that you already did.